What's up, guys? How is everybody doing? I hope you're all holding up well. So it's another day, and today it's a bit sunny. I think it's gonna rain later. I finished doing my morning routine, cleaning and all that stuff. So today I just want to tell you guys a story about how I experienced broad day robbery. It happened once in my life, and it was so traumatizing, man. It was so traumatizing. And most of the time I thought that, these thugs do their thing when it's dark. But that day, whatever happened that day, I still couldn't believe it. Because how do you find the guts to attack someone during the day, Anyway. So this is how it started. We were just at home. Everybody was at home, me and my siblings, and one of my siblings saw a poster, and the poster indicated that there was a concert that was going to happen from around 11, I guess, and from 11 to 6 p.m. And according to the artists that were invited to this concert, it was clear that younger age people were going to attend, people from high school and maybe people in campus and colleges. And I remember it was on school holidays. It was around December. So the main target audience was students from high school who were on holiday. So this concert was for them, before they opened school, I remember that was the target audience. So it was a very, young people are going to be in attendance. And I was like, immediately I saw the poster, I was like, this concert is not for me. I cannot be attending stuff like this, because clearly, how parties with the younger people are usually mad, a lot of things happen, and I was like, where I am right now, I don't need all this, Again, young people are usually energetic, they are experiencing things for the first time in their life, especially high school students, they are usually so energetic and ready to experience this, stuff. And I was like, no, I will not attend this concert. I don't know if you guys can hear music in my background. So my neighbor is playing really loud music. I hope it doesn't affect my video. Usually this place is silent, but I guess it's his off day. I don't know. So that's why there is music going on in my background. I really hope it doesn't affect my video. Anyway, let's go on. So I told my sisters I will not be attending this concert, because clearly it's not for me. And I told them young people will be attending, a lot of young people will be attending this concert. I even doubt if there's anyone of my age group that will be here. So, and they were like, they convinced me actually, and they were like, what else will you be doing at home, There's nothing you'll be doing at home on that day. So, let's just go and see what's happening there. After much convincing, I was like, I don't think there's anything I would lose from attending this thing, because after all, I will just be at home, maybe watching TV and, doing nothing. I was like, okay, let's go. So that day we left and we went. So when we went there, one of my sisters had two of their friends, and for my sisters, they don't have a large age gap between them. So most of the things, they science. But for me, I'm a bit ahead of them. So, considering age factor and all that, there are some things that we don't science, you understand? So my two sisters plus their two friends were hanging out together, and most of the time I was just seated somewhere watching what was happening, because first of all, the music playing there was not of my taste. The people attending the concert are very much younger, so I felt like I was out of place. And it reached a point I told one of my sisters that maybe I should go to town and maybe window shop, walk around, take a stroll, and then when you guys finish, call me and then we go home together. I kept contemplating that, and I really don't know what overshadowed that thought, because I remained in that place, you know. The concert was taking place in a certain college. Yeah, so for some reason I remained, and I was just sitting somewhere, you know, just by myself, watching around. Nothing really was matching my vibe at that place, but I was like, since my sisters are here, let me just stay, you know. But for them, they were somewhere in the crowd, running around, playing around, you know. Yeah, that thing was actually for them. Whew. So after a while, around 1 p.m, we saw some people walking in, and you know, they were tall guys. I don't know if they are young or something, but I could just see they are tall guys, very dark. I could tell they were of Sudanese descent, and they had, you know, these masks that cover the whole head, and then it's only the eyes that can be seen, you know. Yeah, that is how they were dressed. And one of my sisters joked, and she was like, the thieves have come, you know, like wezi wameingia. Interpreting that in English is like, thugs have arrived, you know. And we laughed it off, and we were like, for me, I thought like, it's just a style, you know. Nowadays people are fashionable. And it was around like 5 guys who walked in. They were in a group, and they all had these masks. And I was like, you know, nowadays a lot of things happen, fashion, you know. And I was like, that's just their style, it's their fashion. So for me, it was not a big deal. Yeah. So the concert happened, people were dancing, I was just sitting there watching. And then at around 3 p.m, the artist who was mentioned arrived. So when he arrived, everything was now intense. You know how high school students are so much energetic, they were just there dancing, you know. The MC was hyping up things, and I was just, gosh, I was so bored. Like, I had no reason to stay there. Like, my most boring day was actually that day. But for me, the reason I was just there, I was like, I'll just wait for my sisters, then we go home together. The whole time they're in the crowd. And this party was actually something of, it was like a color festival. You know how they pour out powdered color, I don't know, there's some powder in form of colors. There's blue, pink, green, then it's just poured randomly on the crowd, and you guys, you know, something of the sort. I don't know how to explain it well, but it was just a color festival. Yeah, so the artist finished performing, and people started now leaving. That was around 5 p.m. So when we were leaving, I could hear some people complaining that, you know, there's some people just snatching phones. And I was like, okay. So I kept my phone very well. First of all, I wanted to walk out with my sisters, but I couldn't see them because everyone was just with their friends, and I couldn't, like, I was like, okay, I'm just gonna walk out the gate by myself, you know, because they're with their friends. I just can't go and tell them, you know, like, come, let's walk together, let's go. No, I let them walk out with their friends, and I walked out by myself actually. So when I reached out of the gate, before I reached out of the gate, so when I had people complaining about how their phones were being snatched, I was looking for my sisters to tell them, like, keep your phones very well, but I couldn't find them. I even took my phone, tried calling them, but I guess they were just so busy with their friends, they didn't pick up. So I was like, wow, okay, I'll just walk out. You know, they're big girls, they know how to keep safe. Yeah, so when I walked out of the gate, I realized that a group of men were standing. You know how people can just stand outside the gate, like other people are getting out, but a group of people are just standing outside the gate. They were all men, and they were just standing outside the gate watching how people were coming out. And I was like, why are these people standing and staring like this? Like, I expected people to be walking out, you know, everyone going their direction, as in home, you understand? But these particular men were just standing and staring at the gate. Little did I know that they were actually eyeing people. You know, these were actually the actual thugs. They were trying to plot about how they were going to snatch stuff and things like that. So for me, that didn't make sense, but I was like, anyway, I'm just gonna walk out. like it's none of my business what everyone else is doing, you understand? So for me, I was headed out, I was going home. So while I was walking, I just got out of the gate, and just a few meters ahead I heard my sister screaming from behind. I didn't even know she was just behind me. So when I looked back, she was with a friend, and someone had tried to snatch her phone. Luckily she got a hold of her phone, you know. And when I looked back, and I realized that she had been struggling with one of the thugs, but luckily the thug did not take her phone. I was like, give me your phone. And she gave me her phone. I took it, I kept it with mine, and I kept walking for a short distance. While I went ahead, I heard someone screaming on the other side. So you know how there is a pathway? The pathway was a bit upper, and then you know now the tarmac road is, you know how a road can be like, you know how a tarmac can be in the middle of two high pathways. So me and one of my sisters who I took the phone from were walking on this pathway, but one of my sisters went to the tarmac road and she was walking with her friends on the tarmac. So when I looked back, I realized that my sister had been pressed down, and one of her her face was pressed down on the tarmac by a lot of guys. This whole time they were trying to snatch her phone from her, but she was fighting back. So these guys pushed her down, she fell down, and the reason why they were holding her, so they were holding her head against the tarmac road. So the tarmac was like this place here. The reason for that is that she can't be able to fight back, you understand? Because when your face is laid on the tarmac like that, you cannot fight, because if you try to struggle and stuff like that, your face will be scratched, this whole part, you know. So when I saw that, I screamed, and I knew if I go there, like they would take these two phones that I have. So I rushed ahead, and I found some other guys, and I was calling for help, and I told these guys, my sister is being harassed on just behind. And these guys, they were like three guys, they were like, where is she? I was like, she's down there. They were like, take us there, take us there. One of my sister's friends rushed to me, and she was like, don't go back there. I didn't know that these guys were in partnership with the other thugs. So the reason for them telling me to take them back there was that they can get me there where the other thugs are, so that they can also take what I have. So this friend, my sister's friend, was like, no, don't go back there, let's just go ahead. So I had no option, I had to leave my sister there. And lucky enough, one of her friends went to rescue her this other time. So in my head, I'm like, I'm walking away, but I know my sister is going through something on the other side. But if I go there, these two phones are going to be taken away, and probably some of the things as well, you know. Whew. Yeah, so I kept walking ahead with this my sister's friend, and she was like, you know, let's just walk so fast. There was a gas station right ahead, and she wanted us to go and stop over at the gas station, because this road right here was dangerous. The thugs were already on this, you know, this route. Talking about the story, I'm even forgetting some of the details that I wanted to see. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So I left my sister there, but later I came to realize that one of her friends rescued her. And one thing I really didn't understand is how I was calling for help and no one was willing to help. You understand? I don't know if they were not willing to help or they were not in a position to help, because I can tell in this group, large numbers were thugs, you know, and everyone at this point was just running home. So I don't know. Yeah, nobody was helping, and if you found someone who wanted to help, it was a thug, and they wanted to take you to the same spot so that they can now take everything from you, you know. And that was it. So we went to the gas station. I stood there with two of my sister's friends, and I was wondering, so you know, my other sister, the one who gave me her phone, I didn't even know where she was again. I don't know if she went ahead to help my other sister. I don't understand. So I went to the gas station and I was waiting for them. I was hoping that if they come this way, they will just find me there. So this period I'm waiting for them and no one is showing up. So I called my sister after let's say 30 minutes. So I tried to call my sister, who was, I mean, the one whose head was on the tarmac, and I tried to call her and her phone was not going through. That's when I knew her phone was already taken away. So I called my dad and I was like, you know, we are stranded here, and there were many thugs, and I think one of my sister's phone is gone. And he was like, where are you guys now? I told him where we were, because it was not far from home actually. After a while, these tall Sudanese boys passed just in front of us, and one of my sister's friend was like, oh, that's the one who took your sister's phone, you know, because he had seen him within those other thugs there. And you know, there's no way I could stop him and tell him do this and this and that, you know. I couldn't, so we just let him go. And for us, we decided to stand somewhere where there was light so that they couldn't come and do anything to us. So I waited, and after a while my sisters came. None of them had their sandals. Their sandals were also taken. And I think one of my sisters said, you know, that one thug told her, you know, I have nothing to lose. I don't have parents. I'm doing this to survive. So they really have nothing to lose. They do what they do, you know. And when they came, we figured our way home. But on our way home, everyone was just stressed. I remember I was so stressed. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't eat. I didn't want to talk. Like, even sleeping was a problem, you know. I know they didn't do anything to me, but just experiencing that scenario was too much for me. Anything could have happened, you know. It was just too much for me. And I realized that, you see, these concerts that are being announced online, you never know the motives of some of the people who are going to attend. Some people come there to work, you know, especially the thugs. So when a concert is put up, they will pay the entrance fee. They will do whatever. They will come, and at the end of the day, they will come and harvest and rob stuff. By the end of the day, when everyone is gone home, when they get to their place, they go and put up all the things they've robbed. At the end of the day, they're the ones who have benefited from this concert, you know. So just be careful about this concert. Some people come there for work. Not everyone has the motive of going to just experience and have a good time. Some people go there to work. Or if you're attending these concerts, just make sure maybe you leave early, you know. Don't leave with the crowd later. Just leave early, because for me, if I left early, or if we all left early with my sisters, of which they couldn't agree, yeah, that would have been better. Yeah, so just be careful about that. And I know I mentioned Sudanese boys, but yeah, those are the people who robbed us that night. I can tell, like, I know I have no bad blood against Sudanese people, but for me, if I go to a concert and I see like many of them there, I think that experience taught me a lesson, you know. That is not what might happen in the next concert, but I mean, like, in my head, if I see them, I know what's going to happen, you know. Maybe that small percentage is what spoiled everything for this whole community. But for me, the people who robbed us that evening were Sudanese men. I don't know whether to call them men or boys. I don't know. Yeah, so just be careful in these concerts. I've never experienced broad day robbery. Not even nighttime. Yeah. So it was something on its own, and up to date I'm so very careful about concerts that I attend. Yeah, so that's just it, guys. Let me know in the comment section, have you ever experienced robbery firsthand? Tell me about your experience. Let me know how it made you feel, the lessons that you got from there. But for me, the lessons I got, that if I go to a concert, I will leave early. and it's not all concerts I will attend. I have to really do a scrutiny and know who will be attending, what will be happening, and stuff like that. I don't want to find myself in a position like that anymore. And for my sisters, I know they also learned their lesson, and they were like, you know, parties like this, they are not attending again. And if they attend, they know what measures to put in place. Yeah, so that's just it. And yeah, I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.